How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the channel where we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. My name is Miles Gutierrez. Thank you for joining me today. We're going to be talking about the new docu-series on HBO Max called Quiet on Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV. Now, this is a documentary that I have been really interested in because I grew up watching Nickelodeon. I got it a little bit later than most people did because mostly around the time that these shows were premiering, I was still focusing my attention more on cartoons such as SpongeBob, Danny Phantom, My Life as a Teenage Robot. So I got into the Drake and Josh, Amanda Bynes, Zoe 101 shows a little bit later than a lot of people. I accidentally stumbled upon them because one day I was supposed to go to a birthday party, but I got sick. And so my mom rented these movies from the library, and I just fell in love with these shows. And over the past couple of years, my childhood and memories of Nickelodeon at that time has been slowly being ruined because it started with Jeanette McCurdy when she released her book and she started talking about everything that happened behind the scenes. And then Alexa Nicholas, who plays Nicole on Zoe 101, came out. She started talking more about what happened behind the scenes. And now we have this documentary that focuses on not just the kid actors, but all the toxicity that happened behind the scenes with the writers, with the costume designers, all the creatives at Nickelodeon at this time is what really the focus of this documentary is, because the first couple of episodes really focuses on how the writers were mistreated, how two other female writers had to share salaries because apparently they couldn't get separate salaries until they later find out that they could, and that is when shit hit the fan. And then you have Katrina Johnson, who talks about how she was the golden child when Nickelodeon was starting to come up. And then Amanda Bynes shows up to the picture, and then she was pushed to the sidelines. And Amanda Bynes was more treated as the golden child now. She had her own show. She was found at a comedy club, I believe. And they just go into deep detail about what happened behind the scenes. And so, looking now at these shows, you can definitely tell that something was up because when you watch these shows as a kid, a lot of these jokes are going to go right over your head, and some of them you can capture as you're growing up and learning a little bit more. And then once you reach adulthood and you see the shows again in a new light, they actually show how sick and twisted these shows actually are. And one of the child stars on Nickelodeon that I was really surprised by was Giovanni Samuels, who I only knew as Maddie's replacement in The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. That was my introduction to her. I didn't know she was on Nickelodeon, so seeing her speak out, that was interesting. And then just seeing everything that transpired really puts everything in a new light. And then we move over to the last half of the documentary where it focuses on Drake Bell and everything that he had endured. And I know Drake Bell is a hot topic right now because of the things that happened a couple of years ago, and a lot of people are still up in arms about what happened. But seeing Drake Bell talk about his experience with Nickelodeon and the producers behind the scenes, it was something that I was glued to from the moment that he appeared on camera. And I wanted to see what was going to happen, what actually happened behind the scenes. Because growing up, I absolutely loved Drake Bell. He was my favorite character on Drake and Josh. And so seeing him speak out and hearing everything that happened behind the scenes, I kind of wish we could have had a little bit more of Amanda Bynes giving her side of the story. But I understand why she probably didn't want to do that. She probably just wants to leave that behind, maybe. I'm not sure. But it would have been great to kind of see her perspective, see what happened behind the scenes when she was on the shows. But just hearing how Drake's Bell relationship with his father was just done. I believe it was because of Brian Peck kind of manipulating him at that age, saying that his father is stealing all of his money and not using it very well. And so they had to cut ties. Just hearing his dad break after what happened and how their relationship kind of broke off. And then when Drake Bell spoke out about what happened, his dad didn't know it was him that spoke out because he wanted to get his dad back. And so he didn't want to put a lot of fire to that flame, which I totally get. But just seeing that heartbreak story just absolutely made me break for this guy. And just seeing everything that happened, watching these shows in a new light, you can definitely tell there were things going on behind the scenes that weren't really age appropriate. And I've seen some videos on TikTok and on YouTube of past shows, and just seeing the documentary and just putting the scenes together, it definitely makes you uncomfortable now. And for some reason, it might take me a while, or I might never just go back and watch these shows just seeing what happened behind the scenes, all the things that transpired, because they explain this well in the documentary. When you're a kid and you see all this fame, money, lights, camera on you, you kind of want a piece of that, but you don't know the extent of what actually happens behind the scenes, and you really don't know what's actually going on. So I love that they actually explained that very well in the docuseries. Overall, this is a docuseries that if you grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s, this will ruin your childhood. This is a docuseries that I think is very important. I love that we got a little bit more of Alexa Nicolas kind of explaining behind the scenes, because she's already came out and publicly called out Jamie Lynn Spears and Britney Spears about how she was mistreated on the set of Zoe 101. And my heart just absolutely breaks for anybody that was involved in these shady things behind the scenes. And especially if you're somebody that grew up with Nickelodeon, this is something that will probably just taint your experience. And I don't know how long it's going to take me to be able to rewatch some of these shows, but this was a docuseries that I was really interested in. I really wanted to see what they would say about what happened behind the scenes, and overall it's one that ruined my childhood, but it ruined it in a way that I didn't even think about it 15 years ago or 20 years ago when I was still growing up on these shows. But those are my thoughts on Quiet on the Set, the dark side of kids TV. Have you guys checked it out? Are you planning on checking it out? Go ahead and drop your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys for the next video.